Welcome back to the second of our two-part series on how to apply a leather texture to a real product. Last time we covered a sketch here, or rather how to approach sketching something like this shoe using a technique that involves cross sections and figuring out the overall form. Then we did an initial sketch, and I took some time to actually tweak a few small things in this particular sketch, but I'm happy enough with it that we can go ahead and render it. So let's get right into it. I'll be using Prismacolor pencils as always, and this time I'll be using my Prismacolor markers as well. So first thing I'm going to do is take care of the leather texture, because for me that's where a lot of the heavy lifting is going to take place. So I've decided that this main portion of my design through here is going to be leather. Okay, so I am just going to outline the portions of this design that will actually be done with a leather material. And this way I kind of tell myself, okay, so I don't make any mistakes, what I'm actually going to be shading in. It's going to help me with my accuracy and just give me an idea of what I'm going to be doing. Now, because the shoe has shape to it and profile, there's actually going to be kind of a shadow core going through the shoe at this point. And so as I start this texture and representation of it, I'm going to concentrate some of my marker right around this portion here as it wraps through my shoe. Okay, and the rest of this I'll just treat normally. And we can punch that a little bit with the pencil, both light and dark, as we go through. Okay, even here on this back piece, just leaving that a little bit light, okay, and pushing some of this shadowing. By reapplying the marker, it's going to help communicate general form of this concept. Okay, so something like that. Let's get the bottom side here. Like so, and then again I can keep working that shadow core now that the pigment has dried on my specific marker. It's helpful if you want, you can either take your work, take a step back from it, and you'll see that you can almost evaluate the contrast that you're starting to get in your work. So as I squint my eyes, something like this, and then look at my work, I can tell that I just need to keep pushing this shadow core through here on my particular leather texture. So now I can take my pencil, okay, and I'm using a brown pencil to kind of push my shadow core, and also just my shadowing on these edges. And again, this is a brown pencil, so it's going to help reinforce the message that this is some sort of brown leather right through here. Okay, and shadow core toward the back as well. A little bit of shadow under this little detail on this pillowed collar right through there. Maybe just a little bit here on the rest of my collar as well. Now I need to get some stitching in, so using this other brown pencil and coming in, I can add some stitching to this. And again, that's going to help reinforce to the viewer, which is in this case you guys, that this material is leather. Now your shoe may not have exposed stitching like this, but in my case it helps to have the stitching when it's a leather material. It just helps to communicate the nature of the material by having that functional element of stitching as a part of my sketch. Okay, I'm just adding a little brown pencil rather than black here. Okay, and that's going to help show that three-dimensionality of our form in this leather section. A little bit more marker now that this is dried, had some time. Alright, so now this is some kind of mesh material, so I'm going to take a gray marker. I've got a neutral gray 6 here. The neutral gray, as the name implies rather, is a gray that doesn't have a blue or red tone to it. It's just a neutral and flat color rather. And I just thought this would work really nicely with my leather color, the brown, as compared to a cool or warm gray. Alright, and because this is mesh, now I can take my marker and start to, using the chisel tip, and just coloring or applying the ink rather in different direction, imply that this is some sort of mesh material or texture through the middle. Now I don't know about you, but I like bright colors, and I'll chalk it up to being from a tropical island, but I really do like bright colors. So I'm going to use some yellow here for the toe of my crazy shoe, completely crazy shoe here. Alright. So I've got some yellow here, and I'm hoping that I can find the right yellow in my pencils, my trusty pencils, that are 20 years old. If you missed that video, these pencils are very old, and my wife was so kind to let me use them for this video. Alright. Let's get our shadow core. And so I'm just shading in generally this area, and then the area where there would be shadow, I'll try and punch that with a yellow pencil or maybe a slightly orange pencil, as well as just doubling up on the marker itself. Okay, and I am getting a little bit of smudging of the pencil, but not really a huge deal. Okay, not something I'm gonna entirely worry about. So here's an example of how line work can make a big difference in your sketches. So if you're really clean in your line work and consistent in the message that your line work is conveying, okay, so here for example where there's a highlight, I'm easing up off the pencil in terms of my line work. And by rotating the pencil as I sketch, I'm able to get cleaner lines. Okay, a little bit bolder line on the outside, and a stylized extension of my line there. Now, because I don't have another yellow marker, I'm just going to use some shading of my black pencil to push contrast on these shadowed faces, as well as some of these areas where this molded toe area would be a little bit darker. Just a little black pencil to kind of push that through. So again, crazy colors, crazy shoe, but I like bright colors and I love it. And that's all I really care about, because drawing is about just having fun with, why did I pick neon yellow? Having fun with what you're doing. Let's see if this is a better yellow trapped in here. I've got yellow ochre, which might work, and I've got a lemon yellow. So let's see where those kind of get us. So here's another yellow back here. Ah, canary yellow, perfect. So let's see if we can wake this up just a little. Oh yeah, that looks good. So my canary yellow pencil is kind of helping me pop some of these ridges, right? And again, don't be afraid to mix materials. Sometimes, you know, it's a combination of marker and pencil. You don't have to just use marker or just use pencil. Mix it up. Okay, so just down in here, adding a little bit of pencil work rather to capture the shadowing effect as my leather piece overlaps the toe area. And time to add some definition to the mesh. Areas as well. Okay, and because this is a little bit of a lip, I'm going to add some white pencil. Okay, right on the leather there. And that's just going to help it read like it is a separate material from the rest of my shoe. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to make this a little bit more of an atmospheric rendering so you don't have to sit here and watch me do this whole thing. I'll of course post the sketch as far as I take it, just a nice image on my Instagram feed. So if you want a nice still image of the shoe, be sure to follow me on Instagram at sketchday.com and you'll be able to see all that good stuff that I post there. Now I'm using the wide part of the tip of a black marker, okay, just to add some shadow on this mesh area. And if you want the mesh to really start to pop, a little bit of black and white pencil work in here, just enough, okay, that it starts to feel like a three-dimensional material. So this actually is a good thing that I'm using this technique. So sometimes when you don't want to finish an entire sketch, you can use what's called an atmospheric perspective or atmospheric rendering technique, which gives me the chance to render my sketch in kind of a artistic or expressive way by focusing in on one part of the sketch. So here, as I'm applying my gray marker to this portion of the shoe, for example, okay, I can be a little expressive and fade this out as I move left to right. And let's take this C7 marker. It's a cool gray 7. A little bit different from our toner gray, but that's okay. Just blend out from this point. Okay, and the actual lugs or tooling, that's actually in black, different material. So I can take this nice black Prismacolor marker, and actually because it's drying out, I can use that to my advantage to then take this blending technique rather, and apply this on the tooling as I move to the back of the shoe, and with a Sharpie for contrast and punching my line weight. So we've used Sharpie, we used colored pencil, we've used markers, lots of tools here. and you can see that I've created this atmospheric render, right? So where we're creating some nice focus in this area and blending out to the sides. So a little technique that you can use if you're trying to, you know, save time but also introduce a nice dynamic element to your sketch. So with a little bit more brown pencil, I'm now taking a slightly darker brown, and now I can fade down just a little bit to get my shadow core in there. And let's go ahead and create an outline on this section in the middle. Okay, and from here create a little bit of an atmospheric effect as well. Okay, so a little bit of that going on through this portion of the shoe. And to kind of ground this and help through the middle, let's go ahead and make the tongue of the shoe leather as well. And this is going to fade as we go up the tongue of the shoe in terms of detail and finish. Okay. So you might see me do something like that. Get a little bit of shade through here. On the laces, on the tongue, like so. And again, using this brown pencil just helps soften the transition to the actual material instead of using a black pencil. It just gives a little bit of a softer transition through there. So right in here, I'm going to use a black pencil just to show the separation of these two materials. And some brown pencil right through here because this is going to be a little bit darker right through there. Separation, slight shadowing. And you can see that now we have kind of a general blend from this point of focus or emphasis out to the left and to the right. On the laces, I'm just going to add a couple little pencil marks here and there, again toward the center of the sketch, and then fade that out to the sides. If this is some sort of chrome ice stay, then I may do something like that just to show that it has a shiny finish to it. Okay, so something like that, a little bit of a shadow underneath. So again, it's just those details that make all the difference really between a great sketch and an okay sketch. And I'm not saying this is great because there's a lot of stuff I'd love to do to this to make it even better. But you know what? I don't want to bore you guys to death. And sometimes you watch these videos and you think, wow, you know, I can do this. Or you see a sketch post online and you think, wow, I'm sure that took them 5 minutes. Or people might say it takes them 5 minutes, but it does take some time to really build up and develop a sketch in a way that would convey your concept in the way that you want it to be conveyed, and to possess and contain the emotionality and expression that you're after in that particular sketch. So it can take time, it does take time, so don't get down on yourself if you're sketching and you think, oh, I wish this looked like that other sketch I saw online or whatever, and it doesn't right away. It takes time, it takes effort, and as you can see, it takes me time as well to really build up to what it is exactly you're after in a sketch. And that is totally cool, totally fine. The most important thing is to have fun, okay? Have fun with it, relax, because it'll show in your work as you guys sketch. Well, thanks again for joining us on Sketchaday.com. It's been really fun. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Just hit the subscribe button. And what that does is anytime there's an email, anytime there's a new video, it doesn't matter what time, you'll get an email that says, hey, Spencer posted a new video, or it might be a summary of videos, and you'll be the first to know. You can also find me on Instagram to see other stuff I'm sketching and other stuff I'm up to, or on facebook.com/sketchaday. Thanks again, it's been fun, and join us next time on Sketchaday when we'll for sure do something cool. Not sure what yet, but every day is different. Thanks, guys.